Hey there, fellow art lovers and fans of all things painted. Welcome back to my regular viewers, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm Cal, and it's great to have you here. It's the 30th day of Spooky Month. Just one more day to go. And today's theme is witch spring cleaning. For this one, I wanted to go for something more atmospheric. My initial idea was a witch standing at the door to her cottage and sweeping dust out from the porch. But after looking at some pictures of log cabins, as I was going for a rustic feeling with this one, I started thinking of the witch from Minecraft of all things, and where they're naturally found. Swamp huts. So I decided to paint my own rendition of that. I began by sketching out the hut using log cabins and stilt houses as reference. This piece was all about thinking in the 3D space and making sure the house makes logical sense in its construction. So you're looking at perspective, how the stilts connect to the ground, etc. I also put in some small details like a mushroom growing in a pot at the window. Looks like a fly agaric. Around the house lies the swamp it's built in. The house is built on uneven ground, so not all the stilts are going to be the same length. I added some trees in the distance to enclose the area in. Now for the witch, holding a broom and sweeping dust from her doorstep. Do swamps even get dusty, being such damp places? Perhaps it's mud she's clearing away, or some of her more powdery ingredients spilt during potion making. I also added some more mushrooms and low-growing plants dotted about to add to that swampy vibe. Then I began blocking in the colour on the hut, keeping to very muted colours here, mostly shades of brown. Now for the witch, blocking in her robe and hat. This witch looks familiar. It's like looking in a mirror. Finally the background, made up of the various flora dotted about, the dark languid pools reflecting the night sky which I'll be darkening down later on, the rolling green slopes and the trees. Then it was time for shading, starting with the witch, using a round brush to build up the shadows on the details on her face and clothes. I went for middling detail on her as the piece is not focusing in solely on her. From there I moved on to her surroundings. Shading in the house, which included marking in all the logs making up the house and every slat on the door, probably took the largest amount of time out of the whole creation process. But for me personally, there's a level of satisfaction in getting the materials looking right. Getting the wood to look like wood or the metal to look like metal. For this piece, I'm glad I'm working on a tablet, which I can just physically turn in my hands to do the horizontal lines more easily. Once the house was done, I turned my attention to the surroundings, starting on the smaller objects like the mushrooms, using the same techniques. I didn't use masks this time around. I don't really have a solid explanation as to why, just sometimes I use them and sometimes I don't. Depends on how imperative complete line accuracy is. One of the foliage brushes came in handy for painting pondweed onto the ponds, and I used a few different kinds of brushes, playing around with the settings on each one to paint in the grass. I put a shadow under the house and turned my attention to the trees, giving the nearer ones more detailed bark and the further away ones less so. I darkened down the sky greatly and the top halves of the trees. Then I added some mist, learning my lesson, and used it sparingly and mostly at ground level. And finally some stars. Not gonna lie, that hut looks cozy as heck. And we're done. This piece was super fun, getting to work on that swamp home vibe. I might move out to a swamp one day, who knows? Let me know what you think. Of the swamp, not my house moving plans. If you enjoyed what you just watched, please be sure to leave the video a like and subscribe and ring the bell to see more content. If you want to support my art, you can find a link to my Ko-Fi in the description. And if you want to get straight into some more art, you can go and watch this video for my latest content. Or this one for something random.